And go live now. I think we're live. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Indeed.
Yeah.
The Halloween be upon us.
Indeed. So, how's Sam today on Halloween Day?
Not great, but that's another story.
Huh?
But I'm here with you all. That's the important thing. How are you today?
Not bad.
Good, good.
Been staring at my LA video all day and doing voiceovers and stuff. It's been a pain in the ass. But it'll be done soon.
Embracing your... You've been sort of time travelling then, in essence. Reliving the holiday.
Yeah.
Right. Is your partner in crime there helping?
Sylvia? Or this guy?
Oh, they're in the... I mean, you don't edit that much, so I assume this is the person who edits. You're finally revealing, finally giving credit?
Yeah, every time I make an edit, he's like... yelling at me.
Right.
And sometimes laughing.
That makes sense. I mean, I've seen some of your early edits, and they are laughable.
Thanks, Sam.
Sounds like the guy from Simpsons, the ha-ha guy.
Nelson?
But longer, yeah. Dear me, dear me.
And Sergeant Montgomery, no, this is not Salacious B. Crumb. This is, in fact, Tedward. I have named him Tedward. He is my new pet from Galaxy's Edge.
Cool.
Tedward's a cool name, just saying.
So you had, so in security, there were scanners, and they had this guy go, ah!
Yeah,
on the X-ray.
He was stuffed in the suitcase.
That would be funny to come up with all stuffed animals, and then just like all the animals were like, ah! Oppose them all in horrifying ways.
I was worried it would be classed as an invasive species, but apparently nothing was said, so it's fine.
In theory, yeah, you could be smuggling endangered animals potentially. I mean, how many are there on Earth? We don't know. I've not seen one in person. I guess this is a screen, so I guess I haven't.
True.
Close.
Sergeant Montgomery throws in $2 and says cat's paw. Meow. There's a Sylvia in cat's paw as well, which is great. The lady's name is Sylvia.
Remember the last Stuart we had? He was the bug that Lorca had a friend and then they killed. Stuart!
Oh yes, Stuart the bug. Yeah,
and we thought they were making fun of you. They obviously weren't, but it was funny to dream for a few seconds.
Could have been. Who knows?
Who knows?
Olivia Julius, $2. Man, the pug got really skinny. Yeah, that's what happens when you go away and don't leave food for them.
But at least they can laugh about it, right?
Or scream.
I mean, who can tell the difference between a scream and a laugh with a pug with that much ear hair,
It's true. It's tickling my face.
But you've got to commit to the bit. I mean, the friend. All right, I'm going to start sharing, so I'll see you in a moment.
All right. And I'll tell you guys to hit that like button. Tedward said so. See, he's talking to you. Hit the like button. Don't forget to super chat in. We want to hear your thoughts on scary, Halloweenish Star Trek stuff. And by all means, participate in the chat. We want to hear from you guys. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click the bell notification. Make sure you hit the bell notification icon, and be sure to, share the good word. Share the Trekyards word with everybody you know. Please do. We would really appreciate that. Don't forget there are links down below as well to the Teespring and TeePublic store. And if you want to be a part of our fleet, you can do that. Hit the join button or go on over to Patreon/Trekyards. That is another way that you can help us out. And if joining a channel on YouTube isn't really your thing, you want more to do with Patreon, you can do that. There's options there. So anyway, yeah. So like I said, the links down below for Teespring and TeePublic. By all means, check it out. We've got some really cool Trekyards. Alexa, stop. Stop. But yeah, check out the links to the Teespring and the TeePublic. We've got some really cool Trekyards merch, which we'd like to see you guys be wearing. So if you're able to, please do so. This guy, I'm telling you. If you're just joining the live stream, this is Tedward. I got him at Galaxy's Edge. He followed me home, and as I can't get rid of him, so anyway, he's here now, and he's helping us out, trying to help out. He's just happy to be on YouTube. It's okay. Relax. You're fine. Do you like your name, Tedward? I mean, I think he likes it, so there you go. But yeah, hit the like button, do all the things. Please super chat in. We may do some costume changes because this is Halloween today, and who knows if you guys super chat in, we might do some super costuming, some costume changes. So just a thought, guys. Keep that in mind. So anyway, yeah, we want to talk about scary stuff. There are quite a few scarier episodes of Star Trek, and one of my favorites, honestly, is Impulse, the Enterprise episode Impulse with the zombie Vulcans. That's like a actually legit scary kind of episode. So yeah, we want to hear from you guys and your favorite ones, so please let us know. Okay, let's see. Looks like Sam's back, Tedward. We don't have to do this on our own anymore. Okay. Can Star Trek do good horror episodes? Yes, no, or ish? Well, I saw a video actually talking about Star Trek and how it's basically a lot of body horror stuff. Yeah, what do you got? I didn't get anything yet. And how a lot of the episodes are kind of that kind of feel, you know, like where the lady loses her face in Charlie X and stuff like that. A lot of body horror and stuff in Star Trek. So yeah, I think Star Trek does horror pretty well.
Well, it depends sort of what you count as horror, because
yeah,
there's the like I feel like Star Wars does better gruesome stuff, you know, when it's trying to be horrific, but the idea of Tuvix is sort of also horror. You know, losing to your friends to make a person, having to kill them to gain two people back, then everyone to live with that. That's a really gruesome idea, right? That isn't that not leading into the having the guy beg for his life? That's kind of horrific, right? Like you feel uncomfortable. When Tom Paris loses his tongue, it's genuinely kind of a horrific scene. It's really gross. It gives you those which are sort of horror, in because of the giant sci-fi-ness of Trek. So I kind of feel like it. While they do a couple of actual scare episodes, there's so many concepts which give you a few moments or a subset of which is still horror, right? But it mingled in these higher sci-fi concepts to kind of get it through the senses, as it were. Because you don't need to have a slasher film in Trek, but you can have a disgustingly, gruesomely thing inside a nice sci-fi plot.
Yeah, I think they do, like I said, body horror or like psychological thrillers really well. Not so much the slasher genre, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
well, it's hard to slash with phasers.
Well, I mean, Suter kind of slashed. Well, I don't know if
Suter, yeah.
He was.
Yeah, Suter's a good
he
one.
He also played Chucky. So I mean, hey.
Oh yeah.
He's already a horror icon.
Born to play that.
Yeah.
That's all I had a thought of when he said that. What was the thing he said before Suter?
That they do psychological horror and
oh yes, thank you.
Body horror really well.
Yeah, I mean, in a similar vein, the Crusher being locked in a warp bubble gets kind of creepy by the end, in a creepy way deliberately, and certainly Riker being stuck in a sail asylum, also some genuine creepy moments.
Yes.
Those both entirely have horror film TV energy in their moments, built up from their premise while not being horror episodes. But certainly you could pull those scenes and feel uncomfortable. You know, you feel for Beverly Crusher as she's stuck in nowhere. You know, and even
no one around, and that's the norm. That's
normal. Well, no. Yeah, no. The crew's always been two people: the captain and the chief medical.
Yeah.
And that, you know, it's sort of played for laughs. It is like the ludicrousy, but it's also really horrifying.
Yeah.
You know, the universe, the reality breaking around you, where you don't know what's right or wrong, is really interesting. You know.
Yeah. And Sergeant Montgomery makes a good point. Neelix without lungs was disturbing.
Oh, yeah.
That's also terrifying.
And not seeing heaven. That's disturbing to a lot of people too, you know.
And Sylvia joins in and says, Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode, If Wishes Were Heroes.
If wishes were horses.
That's the original. If Wishes Were Horses.
I don't know what that is. Let's have a look.
I'm not sure which one that is either. So somebody was saying earlier that they couldn't think. Dan was saying that he couldn't think of a DS9 horror episode, but
Season 1, episode 16.
And Dan Ben, gruesome is the person exploding in TNG conspiracy. Yes. So actually, Star Trek has a lot of moments that's taken into.
Oh, Rumpelstiltskin one. I suppose.
Yeah, that's kind of creepy.
It's funny. This is, I was rebuilding a corridor for a film, the DS9 corridor. You've seen it. It's quite nice. And I was skimming through every single episode of every single season because different directors do different angles, and the same directors just shoot a walk and talk from the same vantage point. But occasionally will bring in a director who'll do something radical, and that's when you catch that bit of the ceiling that you need to see to be able to know it's there. And Rumpelstiltskin had some really good views of the ceiling of the crew quarters because it was so small they'd look up.
Yeah.
So unusual stuff. It's really, really useful. I remember thinking that.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you remember, what you vibe towards. Like the episode with Crusher is very good for bridge shots because it's empty and they highlight lots of wides that really help with seeing the whole bridge. That's a really, really useful one for that.
Yeah.
But also is horror such that because there's been so many episodes, they've had the chance to delve into everything. Is that also almost a side effect of the longevity of Trek?
Say that again. Sorry, I missed the middle part.
Well, the idea that we're calling out so many different episodes that could be classed in the horror genre, is that a side effect of having so many episodes? Because there is literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. There's the chance to have everything under the sun.
It could be, but it's also Star Trek, the exploration of the unknown, and humans are afraid of what is unknown. Being afraid of the dark. You don't know what's beyond the darkness. That's just a human trait. And to be out in space exploring the unknown and new stuff all the time, you're gonna get those moments in Star Trek all the time. And that's kind of the vibe that I think of when we're talking about this kind of thing, because basically the fear of the unknown. I mean, that's a natural human fear. Because you don't understand a culture, you're afraid of it. Things like that. But it's the more the anomalous stuff that really takes hold in Star Trek, and like you said, could be very psychologically terrifying, like not having lungs to breathe, or not having a tongue, or being the only person in the universe. Like, those are scary things to think about. But then you also get the creepiness, the creatures, the strange, parasites and things like that. So there's a wide array actually of like terrifying stuff in Trek if you actually dig down.
I mean, one you don't like, but the clown, Voyager clown, he is genuinely creepy.
Yeah.
And that is actually a horror episode.
Yeah.
It both literally and figuratively. Those people are so at the whim of this character, and then he kills them off as they don't even get to experience life as they get killed, and then fear ends up getting horrified at the end. I mean, that's such a good, simple episode for horror.
Yeah.
Clown.
One of my favorite ones from TNG, though, I have to say, is Schisms.
Yes.
The getting abducted in your sleep and the clicking sounds and stuff. All meant to kind of make you feel uneasy, and it does a pretty good job of it. So. Yeah,
that one's very fun because it's amazing how an actor who slept well and eaten dinner and breakfast and lunch, you put some horrific makeup on them, they look so tired, and then you can push this scene and really feel for the dragging of their soul as they're re-experiencing horror together. Very effective, that scene. It's what is essentially just 5 people in a room, a blank room. Very memorable. Very, very memorable. Just that shared. So it must be, and this is something I never considered. If you were, and actually there's a movie coming out really soon with Nicolas Cage about people on Earth are sharing visions of the same of him. Fantastic looking concept. You know, would it not be scary by itself to be able to independently with other people connect the same horrific memories? Because the brain, I think, tries to understand like horrible things as fake, unreal, or hallucinations. But if 6 of you are all having the exact same knowledge, isn't that kind of more scary? Like this trauma is real, and it's going to double down if people are reliving it with you. Like, that must be quite scary in itself. Just that idea of everyone's sharing a scare.
Yeah.
It's this soul crushing scare. Oh dear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never thought that before. Gosh. But guys,
Actually,
British.
go ahead.
If you look, Stuart, also at the top, $20 for a change costume. So normally it's 50 for a drunk yards. We're not drunk yardsing, we're sip yardsing. But I've got lots of costumes, Rary. So
gotta go get my sippy thing.
yes,
My sippy cup with my wine.
this is also our last day of the month. We really appreciate some support and part of the channel. So a couple of those would go a very long way.
Yes. So if you can help out, please do.
Yes.
I was going to say the next episode of TNG that we have to review is the one where Data, Riker, not Riker, Data, Deanna, they get possessed
Yes.
by aliens, but it seems at first like it's ghosts, the ghosts of the
Yeah.
ship's crew. That again is like possession, not being in control of your body, but more like a ghost aspect to that one, because you think it's the ghost crew of the original of the other ship. So wow. Actually, now that we're talking about it, there's a lot of that stuff in Star Trek.
And all of these we're just thinking of off the top of our head. We're not even going through a list. These are all like memorable ones to us. And I really enjoy that one.
Yes, that's a great one.
It's well paced, well storied. See everyone act differently is fun. The fact they can turn each of those people into horror characters because they're all, truly deadly. And then I at one point, Brian yells at Keiko, and it's like, oh, actors.
Yeah.
Shut up, boyfriend! Because it's like, it's not really. That must be fun. Go off type.
And then there's Regenesis, where they're all like mutating. Again, body horror.
That's a classic horror because obviously they have to ruin the sets a bit.
Yeah. And even Devil's Due with Ardra dealing with the devil. That kind of aspect as well. So.
Yeah, that one's more of a Gene Roddenberry classic of they're not really aliens, they're sci-fi.
Yeah.
But certainly, God, what's Molor? No, what's the name of the Klingon character?
Feklar.
Great design. I mean, that's a horror character there by itself. Yeah.
Oliver Lavery Farag, for 16 months at the rank of lieutenant, says the scariest thing in Trek for me was Riker's outfit in Angel 1.
Oh god! Oh.
Happy Halloween, guys.
Oh no! Oh no!
It's a lot of chest hair.
I wasn't ready for that sort of scare. See, Frank.
Oh, go ahead.
I
was just going to ask Tedward what he thought of Riker's chest hair. So there you go. Anyway.
So he likes it? Is what I'm getting from that?
Did you like it? I honestly don't know. I haven't deciphered his laughs yet.
Yeah, kind of hard to tell.
Yeah. I still gotta go get my drink. But hit like if you haven't already. We have 19 people watching. This is not going to be a super long live or anything. It's still going to be under the 2-hour mark, but
unless you guys throw down.
Well, no, because I got to leave at 6. So
it could be an amazing 1 hour 56-minute live though if you guys throw down.
Good, yeah.
Oh, and also kudos to Brett for our new pumpkin Halloween logo, inspired. Yes. He insisted, and I'm glad he did, because it's great.
And I prefer that one to the other one, just kind of like you do.
It tells a story.
Yeah, the other one looked cool, but didn't quite convey what we were getting at. So.
Yes.
But yeah, and I'm glad you found the thumbnail.
Yes. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very happy I found that.
It's a little bit of it would have been a wasted one otherwise. So.
They're all around a pumpkin.
Telling ghost stories. or sci-fi stories in this case.
Yes.
But hold on a second. I'm gonna go grab myself a drink.
Yes, please do.
So entertain the troops.
Yes.
While the captain's away.
Yes. Oh dear. But yes, I have many costumes raring to be tried on at you guys' Super Chat pleasure for this Halloween. Last year, I believe, Stu was doing a thing, so I Jedi'd up, which was fun. It was a really nice excuse to wear a Jedi costume. Oh, Ray Ricks. Ha-ha! Ha-ha! That's timing. Well, I can't because Stuart's just left. Excellent, thank you. Ooh, the DS9 episode, Hard Time. Oh, that's the Miles goes to prison one, I assume. Goes to prison. Thanks, Ray. You're an absolute pal. Hard Time. Yeah. Let's see. Just to confirm. Yes, that's great. That's a horrifying concept. And yeah, I mean, what a for that actor to be able to push from this, somewhat chirpy guy to this. You broke my brain. I don't want to live anymore. It also shows that experiences is sort of what matters. How many people have had a dream where their significant other says or does something, or they are pissed at you, and you remember it. My previous relationships, I remember I dreamt that they cheated on me, and I didn't wake up feeling great, and I lingered with me for a couple of hours because it was not great. It's amazing what the mind can do. Sort of it's just chemicals, and feelings are just chemicals. So to experience them is just wow. Oh no. Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one. And DS9 certainly, I'm sure, has a larger list. I mean, Al Moraine has given us just waking dream nightmares for years now. I mean, it's hard to express how we feel Al Moraine, Oof. If only Stuart could talk.
I said Al Moraine. That's terrifying. Jesus.
Yes. But Ray Rick has gone for a costume change. Fantastic. But he mentions Hard Time, the DS9 episode where Miles lives a life of fake memories of jail time.
That. Yeah, I can't stand that one.
Very good though, isn't it? From a horror point of view.
It's very good, but it's a terrifying concept.
Yeah, it's gorgeously horrible.
That's why the inner light, the trick they were going to do in Lower Decks, is also awful because.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Because it sort of doesn't matter that it might take 5 seconds, because to you it doesn't, and you're only living by own experiences.
Yeah.
And I remember it, as I said, as an actor, for him, he must have been so thrilled with that, because not often do you go to the absolute depths of despair. You skip that many years and lives, in Convergence, all of our characters comes from the future, and they then get to live with this weight that we haven't earned in a sense because it's off screen in an alternate future. And then suddenly to be his character is quite repulsive, to play all this darkness, and it's real. It's not like I'm evil. It's like no. It's real, and as an actor, it's not up to you to tell the writer. I haven't got there yet. No, the writer's telling you as an actor, you've now got to have this challenge. Go, Thursday you're gonna be this. You're gonna have that challenge. Not fun, but also fun, right? Because I don't know if I would want to play acting darkness all the time. I'm seeing actors, Tom Cruise and Will Smith and all those people who do these very dramatic scenes. It's got to take it out of them, surely, to be that sad, that angry. You have big crying scenes. I mean, like the Les Mis scene where the lady, her hair shaved off, whatever. Like she has a one-take scene. It's like, how many times can you do that and cry in a song before you just can't do it anymore? You just can't deal with what you're feeling. How much that you got in you before it becomes,
Mm-hmm.
It's hard enough directing people for 10 hours, let alone acting scenes, and I'm sorry to the actors. I say, right now, be happy. Right, 2 scenes later, be happy. It's like, I'm tired and I'm hungry. I want to be happy. Yes. That's what you gotta do.
Yeah,
that's what you gotta do.
Eric Martin, $5. Getting chased in low light in Jeffrey's tubes would be scary to me, and they didn't really do that that I can remember. There's a lot of crawling through Jeffries tubes.
Yes.
Sometimes in harsh conditions, but being chased, I don't. Yeah, well, I think there's 1 or 2 times.
Well, it's hard to chase in a Jeffries tube.
That's the point. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why it's scary.
And also, they only had so much of a set. Which is why it was fun to then, when we built a Jeffries tube, as of course we did, it's fun to know where the limitations of the set actually were. It's like, right, you got this one corner and this one corner. Right, all the things are from that corner spectrum. But then you can, like, it's like if we ever did a TOS film and you actually extended it past, or you did like a literal mirror of the sets. It's like, would your brain like if suddenly seen from a different angle? You know, that curve is the wrong curve.
And Ozzy, Empok Nor, that one, another terrifying episode. The superhuman strong Cardassian warriors on a dead station.
They weren't very nice.
Yeah.
All right, back in a second.
Dan Ben says, haunted by a dead loved one, Star Trek has done before, yes. And he says, agonizer. I got an agonizer right here. Put it on my forehead. What's that? It's not cool. Like how Sam's got to take a picture of himself each time. Identity crisis, where Geordi, his friends are disappearing, he's mutating. Yes! That's another one. Like we said earlier, I mean, Star Trek does body horror very well, and to be changing into something that you don't understand, you could argue Threshold is a horror episode as well, because Tom Paris is mutating. Like his tongue falls out, he is changing into something he's not sure what, and that's a terrifying concept. So, it's not scary for Rutherford and Tendi. I'm making it in the Jeffries tube, yeah. Being trapped in a holodeck by Seska. Yeah, that's another one. Just honestly, just the horror deck. There you go, a horror deck. The holodeck in general, not real, like thinking that you're out of the holodeck when you're not, and being trapped inside it, and you might never know that you're not outside of the holodeck, or that you're stuck inside of the holodeck until somebody from outside rescues you. That's kind of a terrifying concept in and of itself. The fact that they say computer and program a lot of time when a situation happens is quite important to showing the fear that's involved with that. Like, are you stuck in a holodeck program? You wouldn't know necessarily. It would be even more terrifying from like one of the holograms perspectives in that holodeck, thinking that they're an actual real person inhabiting this world, and then basically they're not. Like, that could be us. We could be holograms in somebody else's fantasy, and we wouldn't even know it. Again, a terrifying concept. I think the only episode in Star Trek that actually specifically mentions Halloween and Trick or Treat is Cat's Paw in TOS. I don't think Halloween's ever really mentioned again necessarily, though. If I'm wrong, let me know. It's pretty scary having to go into battle. Yeah, but that's a different kind of scary, Dan. I wouldn't consider that the same kind of scary. So, another one that's kind of scary is when B'Elanna has to go to Tovakor, and she's on the ship of the dead, the barge of the dead. That's another scary concept, honestly. There's quite a few now that we're talking about it. Actually, it's hard when you just say pick a scary episode of Star Trek. Like the same 6 will show up, but when you look more in depth, there's a lot more there in some of the other episodes that you wouldn't consider horror at the time, maybe, but when you think about the situation and the people in those situations, yeah, it'd be a terrifying experience. So, frames of mind with Riker tripping out. Yeah, Sam mentioned frame of mind earlier. That's thinking you're crazy or not sure if you're crazy. Look at Mr. No Rank there. That's a sharp-looking uniform.
So you never see me in gold, do you? Gold Voyager?
No.
Because I never put this one on. I don't think I suit gold as much. And it's funny because you only notice this when you look for the uniforms, but the security guys have it all the way up to the top, so it's always like crisper.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Reds tend to have it lower down. There's actually zip etiquette for the different divisions, which is weird.
Well, that's just zippy.
Which is why, as we had this conversation, me and the people who made these costumes both have a screen used uniform.
Yeah.
And both our zips are different things, so we both had a little fight of which is more accurate. It's like, well, they're both screen accurate, they're both screen used, they're both, but they're different. So one zip stopped here, what's up there? I was like, why'd you stop the zip there? Because it stops there. Not ours. Well, it wasn't real. Yes, it is. So I made them do the other two up. Well, this is clearly riding, but that's okay.
I was just saying, there's only like one actual reference to Trick or Treat or Halloween in Star Trek, I think, and that's Cat's Paw from TOS. The only other actual reference, Dan brought it up, is NCC 1031 Discovery. Because Brian Fuller is a big fan of Halloween, so he picked 1031 as the registry number for the ship.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, all of those things, existing is a relative term, It's like if you're also, how many military vets on duty in Afghanistan are still doing Halloween or Easter? A lot of that stuff's probably going to be left on the wayside because of work and placement and time. And, the Federation ships aren't American ships. They're basically UN ships, just world. So to be, you could argue to be conscious of everyone's cultures, you don't do certain cultural things publicly, and therefore they just sort of go out of style. Then obviously go back to Earth, where everyone can just kind of be themselves, like the military aspect. Then everything can happen, right? But it's just on ships, Would you expect to see Halloween parties in the Enterprise? No. Unless you do low decks, then you probably would.
But you wouldn't expect to hear about Christmas parties on the Starship either, but you do hear about one where Kirk meets Miss Noel. Yeah. That was the 60s. It was different times, so. Yeah, and it wasn't. They weren't celebrating Halloween in Cat's Paw. Kirk just made a reference to Spock. Don't you know Trick or Treat? Like.
Yeah. So. Well, yeah. I mean, they are. That is the product of its time. That's okay.
Rich McConville, member for 1 month at the rank of lieutenant.
Welcome.
Wolf in the Fold with Jack the Ripper. Yes, Red Jack. Red Jack. Jack the Ripper. I'm a huge Ripperologist. I love Jack the Ripper stuff. And that was a great tie-in with Star Trek. That and Sherlock Holmes. I mean, they got them both covered. It's fine. I'm a happy guy. So, but yeah, that was a slasher one actually, because Scotty was accused of knifing this woman to death.
Just a bit gruesome, yeah.
Yeah. Again, just trying to monopolize on the fear of the crew. That's another thing that happens quite a bit in Trek. Monopolizing on emotions, specifically fear or whatever. Seems like aliens kind of feed off of that, so it's an interesting concept.
Well, when you can't have interpersonal problems, you got to extra personal them.
Yeah.
I mean, another one that potentially on paper, it doesn't sound as horrific, but the Void episode of Voyager, where they have no stars and no light, and so for days and days and days and weeks, there is nothing out the windows. It's pure inky blackness, and you realise how much you are grounded by anything, and when you have a nothing for long enough, it becomes difficult.
And again, the crew was in stasis, so Seven was on her own.
Different episode.
Is it?
Yes, that was the one they go through the creature.
Pitcher plant.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, regardless.
Yeah, because that's the one they go through a wormhole, and then go to the other end, and there's a beautiful multi-nebula shot.
The Void was just making everybody crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Janeway's reclusing for a long time. And that's just psychological horror, but it's not doing anything, but it is. And let's be honest, during COVID, we were both stuck in doing nothing, and some days we literally were stuck in and we couldn't even open the door in a sense. I think we've all kind of experienced that sense of being truly locked in without anything to do, like motivatingly to do. I can relate more now. You know, when you lose the access to the outside world. Luckily, I biked for a large chunk of that.
And Sean,
I talk to you every day.
I know. Sub Rosa should have been scary. Instead, it was just scary bad. Scary cringe.
Which one's Sub Rosa?
That's the Beverly with the ghost.
Oh.
The candle ghost that she has sex with.
And horny ghosts.
Dave Reel's Area 51 schisms. Yeah, we already mentioned schisms. That is definitely a terrifying one. The whole abduction, especially while you're sleeping and not being aware of it. Terrifying concept. While you were gone, were you listening at all?
Most of it, yeah.
Okay, yeah. What about the holodeck thing? Where whenever a situation happens, it's always like computer end program, just in case. Like you never know if you're stuck in a goddamn holodeck. That would be kind of unnerving as well.
Yeah, you know, what is life? Is it worthwhile? Is it meaningful? Because if you might be stuck, then whatever you're doing isn't real and worth anything. Yeah, no, tricky for sure. It's hard to do that as a concept in an episode, so you gotta have a real plot within that to kind of focus it. So as you'd said, the one with Teska, it's not played for horror so much as for action. That one, because it's more like we're fighting things. It's not so much, you know, the Doctor's not creepy. He's evil. There's a difference there, and the fire is you know, but that could have been played even more for creep factor. Seska, you know, being able to go around every hallway because you can't escape her, and she's in all the walls and she's talking the walls, and but I mean that episode I think is great, and it's a great twist on, you know, from the first half of an excellent what if, and what if again, and then to that is a really great double twist.
Yeah.
No, certainly it's not really being explored very much, because at the end of the day you can in theory just shoot your way out, because it is just, you know, a room.
Yeah.
Because all you have to do is turn off the safety protocols and shoot the wall and you're out.
Assuming you can access the safety protocols.
That's what I mean. There's the step in between, but if you can, then it's just a... Yeah. Then any weapon becomes a real weapon, right? There's a little less you need to do in theory to whatever that. Thanks, Ryan.
Dan Ben says Star Trek Enterprise also has a similar episode, Doctor's Orders. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, they certainly recycled some basic premises.
Yeah, they do, but that's fine.
Could you argue the episode where Trip is cloned and then we get to know the clone and then we kill the clone, knowing from moment one that this character we're going to like is going to get murdered for Trip, is that kind of horrific?
Yeah, it is, but in a different way. Yeah, that's. I wouldn't count that as a horror one for me personally. That's more of a moral dilemma thing than a horror thing. But from Sim's point of view, absolutely, it's a horror thing. It's like, you're gonna kill me just because I have no say in this. What the hell? Yeah. The Sim episode was Enterprise's Tuvix. It was the same thing. So.
Yeah. But I think you in general like Trip more than you like Tuvok plus Neelix.
Yeah.
Like likability. I like the characters better, but as people you like Trip more because he's a likable character.
Yeah.
I like the character of Neelix more, but he's not as likable as Trip.
Yes.
It's like Kim is more likable than Paris, but Paris is a more interesting character, and therefore you like him more.
Sure.
Just Paris is a more hard edge, and Harry's just nice, and you like Harry, and he's just nice, you know?
What about Locarno, man?
What about him, Stuart? What about him?
Brings up another one, actually. Thomas Riker, the transporter clone. Could you imagine being him, thinking you were stranded on the planet, giving up or holding on hope that you'd see Diana again, and tell her you love her, and turns out that she's moved on with and the other version of you, which is you, literally you, screwed it up, and you'd be pissed because you'd spend that whole time just holding on to that hope, right?
Well, it's doubly sad in that specific context because, of course, you're holding out hope that you will make it work. He doesn't make it work, but he would do exactly what you would do. But you then resent, I would have done it differently. It's like, you literally wouldn't have. But only now, knowing you did it poorly, you would do it differently. But whichever got you there,
Yeah.
would be the same outcome. It's just now you're like, I would have done it better. So you have that resentment factor along with the horror of missing out those years. But then, of course, they get quite sweet on each other very quickly because, of course, she's like, oh, yeah, classic you. But more rugged, Yeah. But yeah.
Dan, we already talked about that one. The insane asylum one.
Yeah, but the horror of having another you, because then, also you could, not quite in that episode, because they did kind of make a clear line that one signal got out and one bounced back. The bounce back is the clone, because that's how that worked. Like, there wasn't a case of, there was an A and a B, there wasn't two A's, right? It's a small differential, but there was...
I think there was two A's, but the one that continued his career in Starfleet kind of trumped the other one a little bit. Like, I'm the real Riker because I made it out and continued my career.
I thought they showed like a graph and it like bounced back.
Well, they did show that graph, but it's the same signal that went through and it also got deflected, so it's the same. But considering he's the one that got saved and continued on with his life and his career, he's considered like.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Is that, how do you consider reality? If there's now literal clone of you without any tomfoolery going on, are you less you if there's another you? Oh, damn it, Thomas Riker. But are you still you if there's another you? Are you less you now there's a second you? Do you realise that you are just biosignals in a flesh body if someone has the exact same memory set as you up to a certain point, and would react in very similar ways?
Yeah, I've that episode really made me think, like, how would I react to myself? Yeah, I'm not sure how that would go. It's one of those things. It's just it's an interesting thought experiment to think about. Let's see. Real quick. Haunting of Deck 12. Yes. Which is the one where the guy commits suicide in the Enterprise nacelle room?
The one with the inside of the nacelle.
Yeah, jumps into the thing. I can't remember the name of the episode.
I think it's a murder, don't they?
Yeah. But like he's appearing on different parts of the ship, and it's that ghost vibe to it.
Don't remember that so much, but...
Kira wakes up and she's Cardassian. Yes, identity crisis.
Yeah. Yeah, but those who know the line, that's just action, adventure, more the actual horror. Or like horrific themes.
Let's see. Dagger of the Mind. That's what the Tantalus penal colony. Well, Kirk's in the chair, right?
Yeah, but that's not horror so much as action again.
Yeah, it's a little bit of psychological stuff.
Yeah, but it's a bit different if it's just he's being attacked in the brain and we don't see it. I don't think yelling because you're being injured is horrific, because it's not. You're not seeing something horrific. You're seeing a man go versus.
But it's the one guy that got stuck in the chair and his mind just became nothing. Just became emptied.
Oh, it's like versus Picard, where they literally ripped a guy's eye out. That was actually played for horror.
Yeah. Rich McConville, $5.
Thank you, Rich.
The Thaw with Michael McKean as the clown, the embodiment of fear itself.
It's Michael McKean, is it? Yeah, I mean, really great. I've always liked that one because it's a nuanced performance. It's that great combination of serious and not serious, because And that's a hard thing. You know it's serious danger, even though they're prancing around and dancing to music and choreographed and like it's played for silly, but there's 100% viciousness there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that could easily have been silly, right? It's like the Orville episode where you see the clown. He was a bit more on the side of silly horror. But there's not, even though it's silly that there's little people and big jugglers. Like it's played for silly, but they're not silly. They're creepy. Is that
Mm-hmm.
interesting balance that they struck very well? I think anyway.
Dan Ben, the TNG episode where they find a skeleton behind a bulkhead. Yeah, it's like finding a guy bricked into a wall or encased in concrete when you're digging up. Yeah.
Well, in a similar vein, Tuvok, when he realizes he's a sleeper agent for a Maquis kill cell, and he loses control of his own body and he mind controls other people. It's like, okay.
Yeah, the Manchurian Candidate is basically what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because it's pretty. I would go into the realms of horror to have one of your good friends lose his personality and try and kill you. That's pretty sucky.
Would you hold it against him? So if I try to kill you one day,
when
you're gonna hold that against me?
When you try and kill me something?
Not when, if.
No, probably not. I think if you maimed me horribly, I'd be a bit pissed at you. Conceptually.
Fair.
I chopped off both your legs and both your arms, but it wasn't me. It's like, right. Still a bit pissed.
Yeah.
Punch me, be okay.
I would take care of you for the rest of your life and feed you and clothe you and bathe you and.
Oh, well, the sponge baths. Stuart, that is horror. That's a horror film. That's a horror film right there. Gosh.
Eagle Rider she thinks she's invisible. I don't know why. I can't see. Whoever's her comments. The creepier one for me was not Genesis when they do
Genesis?
Regenesis. Yeah, we already talked about that one a little bit.
That's good.
You're not invisible, Eagle Rider. We don't get all of the chat, unfortunately.
Depends how jazzy the comment is. Yeah, I mean that one's fun. Gross. I mean, not Beverly, Troy in a bathtub. She's horribly mutilated or whatever. Yeah. And it is, unlike Generations where you see things from a very bright point of view. It is very interesting when they break the sets visually and look horrible because you know the space so well and yet they just change it so much.
Which is the one where Troy becomes a cake? A cellular peptide cake.
It's when Data's dreaming.
That's somebody's dream. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
You can't help but dreaming. And it turns out it's a program by his creator to show he's evolving. I think.
Yeah. Borg episodes could count as horror. Yes. Yeah, again, that's kind of the zombie vibe going on there. But they kind of demystified the Borg a little too much, I think, and they became less scary, in my opinion, but rather than just an unstoppable force. A little bit of difference.
I mean, it depends how you're fighting against them. If you've got no weapons and you're in a corridor with the Borg, with one Borg drone that you can't hurt, it's still going to be scary. Ever going forward, there's green lights. Yeah.
Yeah. Who becomes a spider? That Barclay. Barclay becomes a spider. Yeah.
The broccoli be with us.
Yeah, you got to admit, the inside of a Borg cube is very reminiscent of like a haunted house, with the darkly lit corridors and the flashing lights and the people just walking by you.
Mm-hmm.
It has a very haunted house vibe to it to make it feel creepy. So yeah, the Borg are definitely a horror element for sure.
Kind of what helps define them, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, aliens are
still
still
scary initially, though.
But it's a different kind of scary.
Exactly. Yeah.
Aliens is still scary, even though he is different kind of scary.
Guys, throw us some suggestions, things to talk about. We've kind of covered a lot of scary stuff.
There's a lot of things.
Let me do a quick look here.
You know, half the concept of insurrection is kind of horrific. That of stretching, mutilating your face, breaking your cells to have to break them constantly just to breathe, to live. And they could have gone certainly worse in that. They kept that quite PG, relatively speaking, like the concept, because they were, say, implying they were dying and etc. etc.
Yeah.
And it, you know, even not quite the same thing, but you know, the slight horror of living so long and knowing you're gonna live so long that you become so numb to the universe that you can ignore it and move on, even though you know the radiation on your planet, which is not your planet, but could save billions of people, trillions of people, and you're so numb to people because you aren't moving forward with life, you can't see past your non-future, and selfishness becomes just life, right? Of course you wouldn't share, because moving forward, you know, we're gonna live 500 years. Who cares? You know, they live immortality, right? Look how callous it made Q. The many Qs, you know, being able to, you know, flick a switch and cause chaos. That ain't nice.
Well,
you know.
Yeah. Eric Martin, $5.
Eric!
Scene where dead bodies under sheets start waking up on Dr. Crusher.
Yep.
Always gets me. Can't remember the episode.
Yes, absolutely.
That was...
It was a great visual.
Yeah, what episode was that?
Yeah, Daniel R. Kirk. The famous typo.
There's Enterprise Dead Stop, the space station one, where they're basically siphoning off life force from people.
Yeah, that shifts from cool sci-fi into horrific. I mean, you know, when you start to go into dramatic pushing the boundaries, Alice, it's all fun and games, and then she's psychotically pushing this man to cause crime just because she's being pushed and he's getting pain. And, you know, I mean, we made this joke about going around a corridor and they're there, you can't escape them, you know. You know, how can you deal with something that literal, that embodiment of a ship that just won't leave you alone, that you can't escape from? It's like I can't imagine, you know, someday I'm sure I'm gonna get so old I hear a ringing that I can't sleep from. It's always there. It's just your biology is making a ring, and it's like, well, shit, you know, you can't escape it.
Yeah. What about the Royale? I mean, the Royale is kind of a scary situation as well, being eternally trapped inside of a bad novel and not being able to get out. I mean, that goes more back kind of to the holodeck vibe of being, you know.
That's tricky.
It would fall under that kind of.
Because I wouldn't have said that was horrific at all, like from a personal standpoint. But it is a psychological horror once you think about it. But I do think that's such an early episode. They don't treat it like a psychological horror. They treat it as almost a murder mystery. Because we're trying to find this missing person. Yeah. We assume they're dead. Oh no, they're dead. We might be dead. We've got to get out of here. Yeah.
Well, that's how they treat it. But when you start thinking about it, though, like for that astronaut that died there, just reliving the same thing over and over and over again, like, oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, time loops. Time loops, you know, they're soul sucking.
Is cause and effect a terrifying one then? Knowing that you're going to get destroyed.
Well, they don't remember though, so that's different.
Well, eventually they catch on. So.
Well, it's like Groundhog Day. He tries to commit suicide 10 times because he can't deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, you've kind of got to go insane because, I mean, they're just not making progress. It's such a fascinating concept because then it doesn't matter what you do, and there's only so many times you can lie in bed and not do anything, especially in a world without internet. Because of course, you know, he's a guy with a town. Groundhog Day, but he's a guy with a town. There's probably a VHS store. There's probably Blockbusters in that place, but it's only got so many tapes. Yeah. If you watch one a day, that's only 2 hours out of your day. Guess how many hours you got? The rest of the day. You can easily burn through everything in that store in no time with nothing to do. and you can, they're running out of life while still having an infinite life. Well, that's what other Q said. He didn't want to live anymore because he'd done and seen everything. There's nothing left to do. That is horrific because I don't think we can't really comprehend that because there's so much we could do and don't do to run out of things to do. Yeah.
It's just like wasting your life away, like just doing the same thing day after day and not moving forward, not doing anything different, not getting out of your groove. A lot of people do that, and then they become so old or they become sick, and they realize all the things that they didn't do. That's an old age thing, kind of I didn't do all the things that I could have done when I was younger and I should have done. It's the same kind of vibe, but a little bit different.
But then obviously that's grass is greener because you have done all the things, just different set of things. You forget about all the good holidays, the good times with the family, the good times with friends, the good movies, the good days out. Because you're always looking for, well, I didn't do a holiday. No, but because you didn't do a holiday, you did 35 meals with your family. Swings rounds, right? You don't know what you did and didn't have. To not know the difference.
Yeah. Those kids in Miri were the original Children of the Corn. Yeah, those kids were kind of terrifying.
And what about the City Edge of Forever? Kirk knowing Edith's fate. But that's just sad. It's not horrific. But also, it's also not sad in a way because she dies for a wonderfully good cause, the future.
Yeah.
It's happy in its own sadistic way. This person was so important that they saved the future or destroy the future.
Yeah. Another one. What about Course Oblivion? With
the
ship, where they start realizing that they're not who they thought they were this whole time, and they start to basically dissolve and disappear.
Yeah, again, not horrific, just really well done drama.
And sad.
Yeah. Because it doesn't... yeah. I guess they could have gone even further, because they take it to a really dark place, but it's dark, not horrific, versus Paris's tongue coming out. That is horrific, right? I don't know how you have gone even further with the melting goo people. It's really sad.
Yeah.
But it's not horrific. It's like Year of Hell. It's not horror. It's just sad and dramatic. At least to me. This is all personal opinion, right?
Yeah. The Empath is a horror episode. At least I think so. I hate the Empath.
Is that Diana's baby one?
No, that's one of my least favorite TOS ones. That's with Jem.
Jem Hadar?
Yes.
Shit. I don't know, Jem.
It's an awful episode of TOS. A lot of people praise it as one of the best. I think it's a fucking awful
Doesn't
episode.
ring a bell. Jem.
There's also Night Terrors with the USS Britannia. Everybody was murdered on the ship. And then Deanna starts having the dreams in the dark.
Oh, the flying Deanna stupid one.
Yeah.
Not horror.
It's a good episode. I enjoyed that
one. The fact I only remember that from it is not a good sign, because we did review it.
Yeah, but going aboard the Britannia where everybody murdered everybody, just a ghost ship, that's a terrifying concept.
This isn't horror, but it's getting closer to me. Season 2 in Nagilum, where
Nagilum.
The same Galaxy Class bridge, you open and you see yourself.
Yep.
Because that's a mind F. Because it's not a holodeck, it's a real, not real. To see yourself, a literal version of yourself. But it is yourself.
And there's also Voyager episode Darkling, which is the Jekyll and Hyde doctor from Voyager.
No, that is a horror episode.
Yes, absolutely.
God, I like that actor, man. It's amazing to get typecast as a creepy, disgusting character. And that's who you play, right? Because he does it so well. Yeah, that's great. Because that's fun because the actor gives it his all, but the direction is pretty good. It's entirely off Voyager, so you don't get the home field advantage. The safety feel, that's good.
Yeah.
The slow build on that one's really satisfying as well. And the fact that he can put his hand through you and cause pain, which is doubly scary because it upgrades the concept of what, of course, a hologram could do in theory. But until you're presented with it, because if they're not solid, but they can make themselves solid on command-ish, then yes, of course they go in and squeeze your heart, and that's horrifying. That's horrifying. That's great. And he can walk through walls, and you can't block him. The ultimate boogeyman if you can walk through walls. And you're in his house, so it's even worse. Yeah.
And Eric Martin is right. Yeah, Night Terrors was the episode with the bodies under the sheets. It's where none of the crew was entering REM's sleep. And because they were stuck in this thing that Deanna had to get them out of by releasing hydrogen. It's a good episode. I really enjoy that one. Yeah. Her dream sequence is a little bit, but let's see. Phantasms. TNG episode. Dr. Crusher drinking from Riker's head. And a phone inside Data's body.
Yeah, but that's more surrealist-ness. It's so silly, it's not horrific. You know,
cause to you maybe, but to some people that might be.
Yeah, I'm saying for me. I'm saying as a filmmaker, it's not scary because it's silly, right? It's like if you stabbed somebody with a banana and blood came out, it wouldn't have the same impact as a knife because it's a silly thing. You're covering darkness with silly. Or if the blood was fluorescent green, the scene would play entirely differently versus a knife and a blood. It just wouldn't do the same effect. Of course, famously, Wrath of Khan, the in the ear moment, because it's not the literal of what you're seeing, it's knowing what it means. The fact that this creature is going to eat your insides, convert you, turn you, make you do things you don't want to do, will lead to your death, and it's our heroes, and there's nothing you can just stop it. And also the fact that it's slow, the fact that they put the helmet on and we wait for it to happen, we linger on the idea of it, that's what makes that horrifying. Just the concept of it is simple, but doing it, seeing it, living it, that's worse. Ugh. That's horror. A horror moment. And obviously then he commits suicide because of it. That's dark for that era. Poor guy. Poor Darmok and Tanagra. We drink for you. Bush.
DS9, season 5, episode 5, The Assignment. Where Keiko gets taken over. Is that...
Oh, yeah. And she can actively kill herself. The host. It's a Par Wraith, I think. That's also a very good corridor episode. No, docking port, because they go to the docking port and she's like, "Hi, Miles. Oh, hi, honey. Just so you know, if you don't do this, I'm going to kill your daughter." "Oh, yeah."
For serious.
Not joking. Yeah. No, I'm going to kill her too. Myself. So that was really well acted by her, because playing the charming, just disgustingly evil is a fun combination.
Yeah, I would just tell Keiko, kill yourself first, then kill our daughter. No one would miss Keiko.
I think Miles would.
No, he wouldn't. Ray Ricks, 20 pounds. Costume change. Klingon K-pop was the real horror.
Oh, God. Well, it was memorable.
Yeah.
It is absolutely memorable. And that is interesting that there's two of those right there. Yes, okay, cool. I'm going to swap universes too!
Ooh, nice.
Yes, bye.
Exciting, yes. Bye. The Herodian. Well, being like predators, essentially, hunting you? Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, we got Enterprise Season 2, Episode 10, Vanishing Point. Number of episodes were Star Trek Various crew members think they are dead, wandering the ship's passageways as a ghost. And one slightly odd episode of Voyager, Cathaxis, where Chakotay literally does so. Most focus on the impact of the apparent loss of the other crew, complications of the afterlife, and so on. In this episode, though, Hoshi first experiences unsettling body horror as birthmarks move and her translation skills fade. Then seem to becoming a ghost, slowly unable to touch things properly and even starting to vanish entirely. It's far more spooky and freaky than the usual out-of-phase storyline, and here's an extra dose of horror. All this seemed to happen to Hoshi during the 8.3 seconds she was in the transporter buffer. So what exactly did Scotty go through when he ended up there for 80 years? Yeah, Vanishing Point's a good one. She thinks she was affected by the transporter, and really it all happens in the space of a couple seconds. She was actually just stuck in the transporter buffer, and all those events happened in like 8 seconds. That's also terrifying. Look at that. Look at Mr. Stargate, man.
Yes. And actually, I haven't shown off my patches and name tag yet.
Ooh.
So we got
Samuel Wright.
Proper screen accurate badges and Hammond. So I got all 4 the ships. And yes, because I thought Samuel, obviously, because why not? And then Wright, Brad Wright, who invented Stargate, one of the 2. So I thought if I was doing a Stargate character, it'd be nice to, I don't often use my own name for stuff. So I thought it'd be a nice little double tie-in. Yeah. This is a funny old story because I got this as a... Let's just see how the flight suit will look because, I might have to get them at some point.
Flight suits are great. I like flight suits.
But then we kind of guessed my size because they only come at a certain size and I'm not exactly the right size for things. And I wasn't expecting to fit me. And it fits me perfectly. Nice. So I thought it would just be an offhand comment. And yes, no, offhand purchase, no. Yes.
It's very nice.
Oh, thanks, sir.
I want a flight suit.
Yeah, and obviously they are just real surplus. But it's when you start adding all the custom patches for obviously their version of whatever. But it's it's not like the sort of you can get the Maverick flight suit for $30, but obviously it's garbage, but also has all the real pen holders, all the stuff you don't realise is important. You're like, oh yeah, there's a pocket here for some reason, and here. Oh, it's like a lining inside.
There's actually a surplus store in town here, Forest City Surplus, that sells real flight suits and stuff.
Yeah, we can't get American ones in the UK for obvious reasons because we're not America. But yeah. So it's like I remember when we started doing Stargate stuff ages ago. Went and thinking, yeah, we'll find some US stuff. It's like, no, they have World War I and UK because they wouldn't stock America. Because A, import, and B, people aren't looking for that. Even though it's much cooler.
There's the original series episode, The Children Shall Lead, where all the parents die and the kids are like still happy and laughing because they have this ghost alien friend. Hey, creepy green guy.
Ghost alien friends, man. They do a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, Voyager, Coda.
Yes.
See, I'm trying to. Oh yeah, that's the one where the aliens are trying to convince Janeway that she's dead. So far as like showing a vision of her father, saying "accept your fate."
Yep.
That's a terrifying one, actually.
Isn't that the one where they start on a shuttle at the start and they crash, and it turns out there's not even Chakotay on the shuttle; it's actually her the whole time.
Yeah, something like that.
And then they die in the shuttle, and they come back in the shuttle, and they do yeah. I mean, that's one of those few times that you use the TNG shuttle set in Voyager. It's like, oh, cool, because it's a full set, right? That was fun. In a similar vein, though, you mentioned in Voyager the episode where there's the sleeping aliens that are making them all sleep, and then dream, and then take over the ship, and then Chakotay has to go and sort of threaten to kill them all because he turns them into sleeping people, and they do. Again, playing with like the holodeck, playing with what is real and what is not real, because if I think they said they're very weak because they're in this hibernation state to do this mental, psychic energy, whatever, to people. So But in the vision, they're really strong, evil race, whatever. And then they get there and it's like, oh, they're really weak and feeble. But in the dream, that's why you know they're dreaming, because they're strong. And there's fun twists. That's a horror episode for sure. Because you can't win if it's all a fictitious, in your head arrangement.
Yeah. Eric Martineau, $5. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Scary is an actor where your only line is unscheduled off-world activation.
Luckily, there's few of those. But
now, this one list that I'm looking at is Best of Both Worlds, Part 1. I mean, that's just for losing a friend who becomes your enemy, and then also for Picard losing himself. Again, I don't really consider that horror-ish. It wouldn't fall under that for me personally, but I can see why people would be terrified of that for sure.
well, that's the thing. When you start comparing to other episodes in this list that are actually horror, you're like, doesn't quite have the same impact. I'm going to be a bit stingy on some of the horror things because they do need a bit of that extra to make it work. Because now we've sort of found a baseline. Some of these are very much like, oh no. In this list, we know that oh no. Other one's not quite so much.
Yeah, one of my favorites though, that just came up on the list, is the Enterprise episode Impulse with the zombie Vulcans. That episode is quite scary, quite terrifying. I love it. It's one of my favorites for sure.
Well, that's them entirely embracing the joke. The joke of we're doing zombies. No ifs, no buts, but then approaching it with the full seriousness of holy shit, Vulcans with X, Y, and Z. So it becomes a double whammy of oh no. And also it's really good to see inside a Vulcan ship set. That was also it broadened the reality of it a bit. And also I think there's a scene where, because the ship's also degrading because of the Trillium, there's like a chasm bit where there's a tow shaft or a corridor, there's a hole and they almost fall down, and there's like some nice bold ideas.
Across, like a plank, yeah.
And I mean that will always be remembered because it was the start of the arc for T'Pol. I mean, what a bold move! You're inventing something that screws Vulcans permanently. She never recovered. She might have, done a deal with it, but she never recovered. Amazing. And then having an addiction arc, crazy for Star Trek. So so mature. My goodness, season 3 of Enterprise. I know you abandoned it first time round, but I know second time, third time, whatever. But it's such a glorious bit of storytelling. Good for them,
Yeah, Deep Space Nine, Empok Nor. That is a good one.
It is.
Skeleton Cardassians on board, and it's like a haunted house in space, basically.
Yeah, and a really great use of existing sets, because it is literally the definition of bottle show with removing all things inside the bottle, because there are no people. Which also makes it, in a sense, horrific as well, because DS9 actually is a very large space, those sets, if you remove all the people. And then lights off and strobe, in the old idea of the strobe. Very effective, and not so fun.
Do you remember a Voyager episode called Scientific Method?
Yes.
Episode 7?
Where they're being they're being screwed a bit to then think they can't sleep, and they'll go wacko jacko. Then what's the name? Janeway then flies into a sun and almost kills everybody.
Yeah, by a binary pulsar. Yeah.
That old chestnut flying into a sun.
Zombie Vulcans killing you logically. Yes.
So true.
Thank you for the Happy Halloween, Hypno Amber. Same to you.
Indeed.
It's a good, safe, fun Halloween.
Yeah. As things and bobs are happening. It's nice just to see you all,
Yeah. 46 likes. We're 4 likes away from 50. And
let's swap out the poll then. Can Star Trek do good horror episodes? 62%. Yes. 31%. ish. 7%. No. And there you go.
Yeah.
Cool. We start a new poll then.
Yeah, Ryan K. We did talk about that one. Schisms. That is what it's called. Yeah, that's a fantastic one in my opinion. Plus, as Sam was pointing out, some of these, like the Rumpelstiltskin one, you get different shots of the corridors and the rooms because you're looking up. You get to see different aspects. Schisms is great because you get to find out really good uses for a holodeck. Being able to assemble that table and modify it. And although the holodeck takes some liberties at some points where they ask for a small change and all of a sudden it's a brand new table, but that's okay. It's getting the technical aspects of some things as well in some of these episodes is great.
So I'm going to put down 4 we've discussed as book bit their favourite. Enterprise Zombies and Schisms. What other 2 should I put down as top tier horror? Oh, Clown.
Yeah, the Thaw. Yeah. What about Frame of Mind?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Assignment. Deep Space Nine. Season 5, Episode 5. The Assignment.
Vote on that poll.
Ghosts that are gaseous aliens. Witches that are telepathically powerful aliens. Vampires that are after salt rather than blood. This one is a science fiction take on a demon possession, as poor Chief O'Brien is told that his wife has been taken over. Yeah, we talked about that one. It's called The Assignment. I didn't know that. They have Context is for Kings. Discovery, Season 1, Episode 3. It's where they board the Glen, and all the bodies are twisted. That's where the Klingon goes. Shh. And that gets attacked by the tardigrade.
Just Discovery Season 1 is a horror. We made that joke offline, but that's Stuart, the poll!
The poll. Go read the poll. Which is your favorite horror of these ones? Enterprise, Vulcan Zombies, TNG Schisms, Voyager Clan Episode, TNG, Riker in Insane Asylum. Good choices.
Yeah, easier way than doing the episode titles for all of them because it doesn't quite summarise. Like, Thor does not mean anything for Clown.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for me anyway. But Schisms, I think we all know, 'cause it's pretty famous for that regard.
Let's see.
I'm trying to think. Yeah.
Voyager, Season 2, Episode 8, Persistence of Vision. Featured Janeway's Victorian Gothic hollow novel and so her hallucinations include a ghostly little girl in Victorian clothes having a tantrum about cucumber sandwiches.
And the boy in that sequence is then the kid who was who was a changeling in Picard recently, who's also John Connor in Sarah Connor Chronicles. My mummy doesn't like you. She's gonna kill. Oh, yeah. Thanks, kid.
Are you my mommy? Oh wait, wrong franchise.
Wrong franchise. What else? What else?
Let's see. Dead Stop, Catspaw. Let's see if I can scrounge up any other ones. Genesis. Yes and no.
Guys, throw in more things. You've been amazing.
Night Terrors.
Darcy Bashir Grows Old. Don't you remember that one?
Actually, that's another good one. Is the not that one specifically, but where they go into Sloane's mind as Sloane is dying. First of all, I absolutely love that episode. I love that concept of being inside somebody's brain as the brain's dying, and seeing what that brings about. But it's also a terrifying idea to be able to think you might be trapped there, and still have him kind of in control of what's going on because it is his brain. I forget the name of that episode, but I really love Sloane. That's the one time I liked Section 31 before they fucking ruined it, and that was that was a great episode. That's one of my favorites for sure of Deep Space Nine.
Well, also they add I think they add the caveat that even though in theory we're watching finally true Section 31 knowledge, how can you filter from your own brain? They make it very clear in the episode that he also could be actively using some of his last of his strength to lie to them, just to ensure that you don't know what's real. Because if you don't know what's real, then once you can suddenly not know the real from the not, well, what don't take anything from anything, right?
Yeah.
Because how do you know? You know?
Much ado about Boimler. Boimler has his transporter accident. And he goes to that medical ship.
Yeah.
Monsters. Star Trek card monsters. Oh, that's the one with his vision of him as a kid in the basement. And yeah. Not scary. Sorry. All those who wandered. Strange New Worlds. Oh, it's the Gorn one. Oh, that's where they ruined the Gorn. That's not scary. That's just sad.
Well, it's Aliens. Aliens is not is action versus scary. I think that would have been scary if it wasn't the Gorn, obviously. Obviously.
Yeah.
But if it had been the backburst aliens and they infected the entire crew that were there and we had running out of time, so they were killing them slowly.
Yeah.
That could be interesting, right? And then you watch, so obviously you have to invent 3 red shirts, right? You know, have a real bad time, etc. Trouble with Edward, yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing.
That's an interesting one for sure.
So that's the thing. Horror is quite specific. And I'm thinking back to the one where Paris does or does not sleep with the wife and then murder the guy and then make him live it, and it's not horror though, it's just real bad time.
That's a whodunit.
Yeah. Or same thing also Tom Paris in the prison where he batters people and they get insane. Again, not horror, just real shitty, right?
Yeah.
Which is funny because the fact that I find Void a horror episode, even though by definition it's nothing is happening, that's really screwy, you know, conceptually, like the fact that's my brain. But I think it's valid. I think that's a valid point of view. It's just interesting that's the point of view I have there.
Yeah. Well, this next list is interesting because they have The Enemy Within as number 1. It's where there's good and bad James T. Kirk. It's not scary. It's just kind of...
Well, horror doesn't need... I mean, Saw's not scary, but it's definitely horror.
Yeah.
Mutilation stuff.
Yep. Things beyond your control. The next phase, where Geordi and Ro are out of phase. And they think they're dead. Not scary.
That's a funny one, if anything. Like a silly, clever, sci-fi fun one.
Yeah, that's a great one. Sub Rosa's on here. Oh, no.
I know. I feel like we might have dissected all the true horror ones.
Yeah.
Is there
Whispers from DS9. This one where everything feels off to him. Everybody's acting strange.
Oh, yeah.
What's the concept behind that?
But then,
it's not him?
Yeah, he's a copy. And so everyone's trying to let him...
pussyfoot around him, yeah.
Because he's actually in a room doing something. That's great, though. That's also a fantastic corridor episode. Because I'll tell that story. So yeah, there's a sequence where basically they get less and less extras to show that he's more and more alone, and they have to walk through a corridor because he's escaping people and walking away, etc. And so he walks through the corridor 3 times in one bit, the same set, and it's just fun because that's it. And in that particular episode, they show a mid-corridor... Now, this is really technical stuff, but fine, whatever. Where, what's his name? Jake walks out of the mid-corridor walkway and stops, and therefore creates angles you never see, because no one ever stops there. They keep walking. Yeah. So the fact they stop there, you get some angles that are pretty unusual. It's like, this is not horror, but it's interesting. There's an episode in season 3, the Vedic that Kira's dating, not Ryle, the other one, or the quicker one, the brief one. There's like some of the guys he's dating, and Odo does love her at this point, and he's a bit jealous. Anyway, and they do a walk and talk, and it starts in the conference room, which is actually in the middle of the corridor, because the conference room is also the living crew quarters. It's all just split in clever ways to make, bigger room, a smallest room. And they walk out of that room, which is in the middle of the corridor, through the entire corridor, back through the entire corridor, back through the entire corridor, and then go to the other corridor. And if you know exactly the layout, because there's only so many places, because they're walking full pelt, because it's a very long walk. They have a very long walk talk. You have to do it three times to make it work. But if you know what's happening, you can tell that if the wall is here, they're obviously like doing like this, like right to the wall to be out of frame, and then start walking, because they had to get the extra half second of walking around like right against the plywood to make it work. So that's quite funny, just to know they're being so chill.
A lot of people are bringing up stuff we've already talked about. Stanley's deciding about DNA as a cake getting eaten. It must be quite horrific. Yeah, I think we've covered fucking everything.
Which shows how good, there's that much. A feature-length film talking about horror episodes. That's an achievement for Star Trek. I don't know if we could do the same for Star Wars. There's not as much horror. Battlestar, certainly not. As many episodes, obviously. Doctor Who, I mean, they could never go scary because they were never that. It's not really that. The budget to create horror and stuff. Their scary was obviously.
Their scary is different, like the weeping angels and "Are you my mommy?" Like that's kind of scary, just the creepiness of it. But
yeah, I say creepy, not scary. I'm scared of dying, not of the monster. Whereas the clown, I'm scared of him hurting you. There's no hurting with the weeping angel. There's just death in the context of their ability, going to the past, then being lost, then die in the present. There's no scare there for me, or the jump scare of it. But the jump scare only works for a camera, because the weeping angel, like, I'm looking, I'm closing one eye, I'm closing the other eye. Like, they're not that hard to avoid if in certain situations, but of course they can teleport, so you're going to die either way. But also, if there's more than one of you, you can sort of avoid them vaguely.
And the Stanleys, we talked about that Voyager episode also.
Silent enemy. I mean, again, that's not scary. Body takeover can also be not comical, but sciencey.
Yeah.
Yes,
Disco.
Devin.
It's bloody horrible.
Thanks, Ryan. But guys, I have at least 2 more costumes prepped to throw another $20 to swap me out. We're at a good place right now. We'd love to get another 2 changes. That'd be great. It's the end of the month. It's our last chance to get some help this month. We really appreciate it.
And somebody mentioned while you were gone, the one time, the episode where Geordi is mutating into that creature. Remember from the where he beamed down, and him and his friend on the away team are mutating into the glow in the dark aliens. Yeah.
Oh,
that's another fantastic one, as well as like the holodeck recreation of that. What's casting that shadow?
Yeah,
something there the entire time that you didn't see. That's scary shit.
That's fun. That's gosh, see, entirely forgot that as a concept, because it's not horror to me, but obviously it is actually. But it's not, because it's clever.
Yeah. There's some good ones. There's a lot of, even in regular like non-horrific episodes, there's horrific things. Like I mentioned earlier with Charlie X, where he like gets mad and
rapey.
Where the people were laughing, and he basically removes her face.
Yep.
Like there's no face. Course oblivion, proper sense of existential dread. Yes, I mentioned that earlier. It's more sad than anything, though, to me. Until they had the realization of what happened, and they need to.
Well,
it's not the original people, though. But they think they are.
And they're all transporter clones.
Yeah.
But that is, I mean, that's one. I remember watching that actually for the first time, and given that my age was such that my memory isn't super good, I remember the twist of that. Because if you don't know the twist coming, that's a powerful, clever twist.
Yep.
And it's like, oh. Because not often can you kill the crew and be okay with it. It's the story, like, there's no repercussions. The fact they can kill the entire crew in the last 5 seconds. Depressingest thing ever. Like, such a... Like, that's good Star Trek. Does rely on knowing the show really well to care, obviously, because that's the payoff. So it's not a go watch it because it's amazing. It is amazing, but you need to be invested in Voyager, and therefore for it to work. But it's an amazing episode for that. Never been done before for Star Trek, which is great, you know. Good they had those ideas. Because that'd be sucky for TNG, that much makeup, and to be that organic. Because TNG didn't often do really subtle makeup in the same way. They were good at, like, full face, or full alien, or full prosthetic, but, like, just their skin being wet and yet morphy. Like, that's really subtle. And had to look real. Yeah. Real skin that's not skin. Very effective. See, this... Oh, I just got pissed off there. All these things would be great to see in HD. Just the live action. Obviously, the space shots, you know, whatever. But to see the sets in HD, to see the characters, the acting, some of the set pieces would be so great to see in HD.
Well, I might have something to tell you after this live. Remind me.
All right, then.
Jumping right off of that thing you just said. Hi.
Stanley's. Yes, that's somewhat a horrific episode, but that's more just a sci-fi fun, really.
Yeah, people have been mentioning the Vidians. Yeah, that whole concept of we need your organs to survive. We're going to harvest you for your organs. It was mentioned kind of really early with the whole Neelix not having lungs thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's tricky because the show can't go that dark. So therefore they're kind of not dark, but they can't go really that dark. You know what I mean? Like in Enterprise, that would have been like a season arc, or, you know, a few episodes of like, damn, this is a race that's just gross and horrible, and doesn't quite play that way. Because it's still, you know, still a family-friendly show. Season 3 of Enterprise is not family-friendly. Not really.
Yeah. Dan Ben, TNG, in theory, that lady dies and she's like in the middle of the floor. Yeah, what a way to die. To have the floor dematerialize and then re-solidify while you're... Ugh.
True. Not great.
No. Matt Spector says, hello. Is this where I submit a tale for approval for the Midnight Society? Yes, please do.
Yes. And it's not the same thing, but if they had taken it to a horror extreme, the setup is there. This is a new one. The TNG episode where Picard, the guys came back in Lower Decks, the Bolian, they're all in that room together, and the guy's going to eat them in a day. That idea of being stuck in a room without any way of escaping and be dealing with people who are unstable and drama, that could have been a horror episode. You know, taking that to its extreme. That could have been horror. It's a concept that's horror because it's a fuck you to an nth degree. Have you seen The Cube? The Canadian horror film, The Cube?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a really good film. Genius use of budget. You know, let's build one set with some bits in between and then just light differently. Now we've got every set under the sun. Great. Really, that's a great horror film because it's a sci-fi techno horror. Yeah. With some great ideas, and obviously Nicola de Boer and David Nichol and someone else I can't remember. So, and they're all really good in it as well.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah.
I've got that on Blu-ray. I must have. Haven't seen the second and the third one.
You've shown it before.
Yeah. But it's not really a thing you can do more of. And because part of the fun is not knowing. So someone was like, yes, they're just people, this and this. It's like, okay. Cool. Nah.
Let's see. A conspiracy keeps coming up. I don't find conspiracy scary. It's more of a... To me, it's more like a political intrigue thing, like spies. It doesn't come across as I don't get a horror vibe off of Conspiracy at all. But I get it. Parasites that infect your body and can control you, and yeah.
Well, I remember there's music in that is a like violin-y, gross kind of horror vibes. That one again could have been, the concept is horror because you can't trust anybody. They're killing crews. People you knew earlier in the season are now evil, who are gross, eating the worms. Lots of visuals there are genuinely horror. If that had been a 2 or 3-parter or even a movie, you know, if some of the friends you'd had in the show had then been taken over, you had to kill them or whatever, you know, that could have been gross. Of course, they've got those moments. Eating the bugs it was a horror vibe at the time, given that it kind of the mutedness of TV in that era. I would assume it'd be kind of horror-y, but like very light now. Certainly the disintegration of the creature, that's horror. That's body horror being not our body, or I guess it's a body, but it's alien, not our body. That's certainly body horror in a Saw way. But yeah, it's too political as well, and it's too sci-fi.
Somebody mentioned earlier Armis.
Interesting.
And the Riker being pulled into the goo.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
That actually, I think, would straddle that line quite well, because it is interesting. Talking to Freddy Krueger as he's trying to kill you, and then taking breaks in between, while still trying to kill you somehow. You know, Deanna being in this dark room with only one red light bulb flashing is a horror visual for sure. Killing a main character is a horror for sure. The Riker move, as you say, that sucked. That's for real, right? That is real, black, gross, horrible. That's real. So that does look horrible. And the simpleness of it, because a lot of horror can be simple. A black death goo that is powerful enough to kill all of you. No question. No question. The fact it's not killing you is its want to play with you. That, I think, is actually probably straddling that line of, yes, a horror episode, but without the ability to go super horror. But, of course, it went pretty damn gruesome for the time. You know, the one time they killed a character, etc. Yeah. And he's a good villain as well. He's a good, gross, sort of horrific villain. Yeah. Good shout. Yeah, that's a good shout.
The Stanleys, Garrick going crazy on Empok Nor trying to kill O'Brien and Nog. Yeah. Empok Nor's been mentioned a few times now. There's a lot of scary aspects to that one for sure. But yeah, having one of your own essentially go crazy and turn on you.
Yep.
It's a different aspect of
Well, especially as he's, you keep hidden what he can do, what he's capable of the whole time, but you know it's a lot. And so this local bartender, happy, oh, he's a murderous killing machine that's got the abilities of John Wick. Ah! All comes out. That's a horror bit,
And Mad Spectre says, did you guys discuss TOS Cat's Paw? I felt like it wanted to be horror, but didn't get there all the way. No, I don't think it was trying to be horror. It was trying to be very Halloween-y. It had all the cliches, the haunted house, the chains, the dungeon, the black cat. I don't think they were going for a horror vibe, even with the little creatures that were, yeah. Although encasing the Enterprise in like a block of resin and like heating it above a candle so everybody inside dies. Yeah,
and this doesn't exactly count, but it's sort of closer. The idea of the Enterprise, that the fake Enterprise, and then outside all the windows is the people's faces. That's sort of, the idea of there's no room left on the planet. They had to make a space just to have a space just to tell the story, and because the planet's too populated, it's conceptually horrific. If not actually horrific.
Well, I mean, that one's horrific at the beginning for a different reason, because Kirk's the only one on the Enterprise. Again, it's like the Beverly warp bubble thing, like thinking that you're the only person left, that survivor thing. But yeah, it takes on a different kind of horror at the end. Mirror Mirror TOS. Nah, it's not scary.
Action drama. I mean, what is scary, obviously, but yeah. But obviously, stress to go in the next few minutes. So, guys, can we get a super chat Halloween spike? If we can get,
trick or treat.
Oh,
I'm saying trick or treat. Now give us the treats.
Yes.
Throw your digital candy our way.
That is true. $5 would be phenomenal. $2 would be phenomenal. 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 And vote in the poll, guys. We have a tie. Vote in the poll to get your voice heard above the parapet of the Trekyards audience.
Yeah, we only have 33 votes. We have 41 people here. What's going on? Vote in the poll. Break that tiebreaker.
That could be you.
Yeah.
That might be you. That will be you. #LightSpike.
Like I said, I'm saying trick or treat. I want some candy.
Yeah.
Give me digital candy.
$1 a day keeps the armors away. Dear me. And of course, we've got the Lower Deck season finale this week, which I am excited about. You saw a review yesterday, which was fun. We've got a theory video, reaction video coming out tomorrow, and then Thursday we've got all of it once again. I'm assuming there'll be lots to talk about for this, so that's exciting. We'll cover everything. And retrospective when we can schedule that in, which I haven't done in a while. We skipped the last one, so it's been over 5 months? So quite a while.
Yeah, Stranger World Season 2, we didn't get a retrospective done.
Very long episodes.
Yeah.
Lower Decks and Prodigy, I kind of dreamed. Yes. They kind of dreamed to retrospective because they're so right amount of time. They're a good amount of time, those ones. Yeah, you can burn through in not one sitting. Well, I guess one sitting, but
yeah.
One kind of sitting.
Dan Ben says the Tholian web because the space they were in makes you go crazy. Yeah, going crazy, losing your mind, attacking your crew. Like I said, it kind of ties into the USS Britain crew killing each other.
Well, and also losing Kirk in deep space, the ship around you disappearing. It's ghost shipping.
Interdimensional space.
Yeah. That's if you'd seen it from his perspective and added more horror to it, that would have been cool. And obviously, if you'd really doubled down, somehow knowing the future of the canon, you could have had Kirk in the Mirror Universe, dealing with Mirror Universe people in a spacesuit while also phasing out into real our space. Like, you could have, with insane retroactive knowledge, you could have made that even more horrific. To run away from mirror combatants while also being in deep space sometimes and seeing first person, that would be quite scary.
Run away.
That's a lot of what zombies are, just the endless horde.
Yep.
That simple, almost unstoppable thing. Or, well, I say that, very easily stopped, but there's so many of them, it's very hard to stop them.
Yeah. It's numbers.
It's numbers.
Game.
Yeah. Which is why you can do a Resident Evil 3 in daylight and still work. Because the ideas are, at least some of it anyway, it doesn't detract, you don't need blackness to have those things be horrifying. It's just creatures that you can't fight in big enough numbers and run out of bullets and fuel and, bold idea.
Yeah, like Walking Dead. Just numbers.
Yeah, and obviously the more of you that die, the more of that they have. Oh dear.
An Engraved Ring of Healing says Vulcan zombies are a cool idea. They are. Go watch the Enterprise episode named called Impulse. You'll see them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That green-blooded blood is also kind of that. Unlike the other joke I made about the fluorescent green, in a zombie context, having it be grotesque blood
Yeah.
color actually adds a lot to it versus normal situation with colored blood look weird, but that gives a lot to it. That's good, Nick. It's good to see you. But the poll, oh god, it went back to a stalemate, guys. You voted for both Enterprise and TNG equally. Back on a stalemate, guys. Vote. Let's break this tiebreaker. 38 votes. 33 of you here. I know at least 2 of you haven't voted. Go vote, make your choice, and at least another $4 in super chat would be great. That's 4 1s, 2 2s, 1 4. That's as far as the math can go on that. Stuart.
Have a sniper war. Do it.
That as well.
Last super chat snipe. Yeah.
But you know, since we're costuming, I might as well discuss something briefly. As you know, yesterday, Stuart, I happen to have this next to me.
Yes, you're making a Doctor Who fan film.
If only my camera wouldn't crash. Apparently, there we go. Can you see me now?
Could see you the whole time.
Are you blue of jealousy? Green of jealousy?
Sure. Yeah.
Yes, I'm making a Doctor Who fan film. Trying to, I should say. This is my way of having a bit of inspiration next to me. This is one of my many coasters. Not my Canada coaster, not my university coaster, not my Marie birthday coaster. Oh, is that? Yeah. Anyway, yes, Doctor Who. Speaking of people and costumes, yes, we're going to do an Indiegogo next week. Trying to, because, you know, props and costumes, and I'm still in severe debt for the Trek short, so I can't just do one without funding, etc. So we're going to launch something next week. I've already interviewed the cast. Not me, though, yet, but I'll interview me. Yeah, it's an anniversary film, obviously. We're at the start of the November 6th anniversary special month, which is a great time to do this. Mark is in it as a character in the Doctor Who verse. Let's not joke who he is or isn't, because you know who he's going to be, but I won't say anything to go. But, you know, he's been a Doctor Who fan since he was extremely small, because he's older than he looks, and he is extremely excited, to the point of being so nervous it's kind of cute. You know, the sort of nervous that you and me would be if we could remember a full page of dialogue, like a full film dialogue, gone to the TOS sets and be a cat. Like, if we could do that ourselves fully, we'd be nervous, right? We would. He's that for Doctor Who, not Star Trek at all. So he's, like, excited. And Emma Thorne is playing her character as well. Both time Lord Ladies, I'll say that, because that's a really fun caveat. I was very keen not to do a story that involved a human companion, because it's been done a bit. All of the time. So I wanted 2 Time Lords, Time Ladies. I thought that would give it a really nice, flashy feel to it, something extra. We've been designing some CG, you know, on the off hours, as it were. And, you know, most Doctor Who, almost all Doctor Who fan films have a minimalistic use of CG because they just can't do much. And we obviously have this broad knowledge of CG from Trek shorts and from Trekyards and from Trek fan films that I do otherwise. So it's like within our realm of doableness in this way. I did plan one in December last year into January. Really, you know, I paid for some assets and I did some things, and so that was good for me for doing some previous prep. So that's good. You know, how to write that stuff in, but it's going to be fun. It'll be probably about £2,000 Indiegogo. That's roughly what I'm thinking to kind of cover the costs. Because props, there are some fun props in this that need to be funded. And yeah, if you guys can help, it's such a low goal compared to Trek shorts, which is, you know, I think was last time was like 30,000. So if anyone wants to put in 20, it's like 1% of the entire goal, you know. And there are some fun posters. I'm really proud of the posters this time. We did just send out all the posters for Trek shorts. We've now got a system for that, so we know we can send them out much quicker, which is great. And we've got some both story posters and some general posters, which we're excited to offer. And if we do a perk that's, you know, £100, if we get 20 of those, we're funded. You know, that's how small a budget this is. That, you know, not saying obviously everyone here put in 100, but it's very small, relatively speaking, because this is one of the few ones that Marcus is like, I'll just do it because I want to do it. Yay. But yeah, no, excited to film it. Something very different because it's not the same universe. Yeah, it's not the same sort of stuff.
Cool.
Yes. And I may have accidentally, on purpose, written a bit inside it that takes place during an episode of Doctor Who. It's a time and space machine. Therefore, you could go inside other episodes in theory. But it's meta within meta, but not. So I've got certain ambitions there that should be kind of it's a small note, but it's a big note. Yeah, if you're a fan of the old show, obviously, because more 50 years only happens because the old show, right? 60 years, sorry, only the old show. But if you're a Doctor Who fan, please check it out next week. I'm excited. Yeah. Yes.
Squadricourse, $1. And says, did someone say last super chat?
Yes.
Did.
Could be you.
Right now, Squadricourse is the last super chat. Does anybody want to dethrone him?
Ooh.
Go for it.
Ooh. But on the poll, well, we have a Victor Stewart. That tiebreaker was ended. The winner by 2% is TNG Schisms as the favourite horror of these four. Second best, which was neck and neck for the entire run, was the Vulcan Zombies of Enterprise. Third place is a Clan episode from Voyager, and only 14% was Riker in the Insane Asylum. So some clear vibes there. Some clear vibes.
Nice.
Yes. But thanks everyone for joining us Halloween chill chat hangout. I had most of a cider.
Yeah, and I had a glass of red wine.
Yeah, which was nice to be chill.
Well, there we go. Quiet. Anyway, Squadricourse, another $1. He outbid himself.
Yes, you can do that.
Scottish Nightmare, yes. We talked about Empok Norm multiple times. Yes.
Get a productive life.
Yes. And hopefully you guys have a fantastic Halloween night. Be safe. Have fun.
And jump in next time to see us doing Trekyards things. And definitely, guys, definitely be here for the end of the season.
Word X finale.
Yes.
Yes.
Words I was trying to use.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I had them over here. My apologies.
Yes.
Anyway, on that note, he is Commander Captain.
He is Captain Foley!
Actually, are you Captain? What's it say on your badge there?
Does it say Colonel on my uniform? Probably.
Colonel. He's Colonel.
Does beat Captain. It's one time. Technically.
At least in some military.
Engage!
All right.
No. Yep. Snipe.
Oh, Squadricourse, $2. Happy Halloween. He's sniped himself again.
God, that's gotta hurt. Does that mean he's pointed at just the woo? Almost, yeah. But I did get us over the base rate thingy, so epicness. Epicness.
Epicness is Squadricourse.
Yes.
All right, until next time,
Yes.
guys. We'll see you later. Have a good one.
He's at a Foley.
And he's Colonel Cockings.
There you go.